Hardcover books might not be the best to carry around, but there's nothing like the elegance they bring to your library. Welcome to Page Odyssey. In this video, I'm taking you through the entire process of binding a case-in book, from printed pages to folding and sewing the signatures, and finally creating a beautiful cover. At the end, you're going to have something like this. See you in the video. Okay, let's start with the list of materials. Some printed pages. In this case, I have my pages from the book Asgard Stories. Bookboards. In this case, I'm using recycled bookboards. A muslin-like fabric to reinforce our spine. A bone folder to fold the pages. Thread. You can use a wax thread, which is gonna be the best to work with. An awl to punch the pages and make the holes. Spacers. These are 3D printed spacers that I use myself for the project. You're gonna see how I use them later. A bookbinding cradle to help me punch the holes in the signatures. A utility knife. A ruler. Book cloth, which I'm going to use to make our cover. Glue. Dollar store craft paper, which I'm going to use to make the end papers of our book in this project. And to finish, some scissors. Whenever I start a new project, I always give a lot of attention to the typesetting. Typesetting is one of my favorite parts of the project. A well-bound book can ruin the experience when you open it and it has an ugly layout, or it's hard to read. For this project, I selected this title, Asgard Stories, Tales from Norse Mythology. With my imposed pages printed already in letter paper size, I'll do some inspection to see if they are in the correct order when I turn the pages. Once this first inspection is done, I can start folding each one of the sheets of the signature. You will notice that the signatures are 4 sheets only. I did this on purpose to avoid a too thick signature and reduce the necessity to trim the edges. Here you will notice that I'm doing the folding with my hands and not using the bone folder. You can do either way. I believe the bone folder can be more comfortable in your hands, but I'm used to it. Once all the signatures are folded, we can stack them together and see how it's gonna look like as a book block. And again, doing a little bit of inspection just to see if the pages are in the correct order before I start punching the holes. So here you're gonna see that they are in the correct order and our signatures are good to go. With the signatures folded, we need to prepare them for stitching by punching evenly spaced holes along the spine. I'm using an awl and a punching cradle for precision. This punching cradle is a tool that you see often in my videos. I made it myself and you can check how I did it in a previous video. For this part, it consists in taking each one of the signatures and holding them in the cradle and starting punching the holes evenly. You don't need to punch all of them in order. Instead, you can do every other hole. It will be enough. Repeat the process with all the signatures and you are good to go. With all the signatures done, this is the result. As you can see, we have evenly spaced holes in the entire book block. Now it's time to start the stitching. As you can see, I will begin in the last signature, the one that's going to be in the last page of the book, and I will go up until I reach the first signature where we open the book. The stitching process is not difficult, but what I need to do is to start in the first hole and do a loop in the first two holes. With that, I can tie a knot there, and from there I will go in the back and in the front, so doing a sort of zigzag. This is a long process, but at the end you're gonna have all your signatures stacked up together and all sewn together, forming a beautiful book block. When you start sewing the second signature, I want you to pay attention to the detail that I do here. Every time I pass the thread on the back of the book block, I loop the thread in the previous signature thread loop. This way, the next signature will also be held in the middle of the spine and not only on the edges. Later, when more signatures are sewn together, it's going to be even better to understand what I'm trying to say here. Look how the thread loop around the previous signature, giving this X pattern you can see here. To strengthen the spine, I'm adding a layer of glue and pressing the book block in my finishing press. This step ensures the pages are secure and aligned. Notice how I use parchment paper so the glue does not stick in my finishing press. Apply a good amount of glue and let it dry for a couple of hours. To reinforce even more the spine and help the book block when it's going to be attached to the cover, I'll cut a piece of muslin-like fabric carefully so it does not reach the edges of the book block, and then apply another generous layer of glue on top of it. The fabric is like a mesh, and the glue will go through, holding both parts together. After applying the glue, let it dry for a couple of hours. And then we are going to be ready to start working on the end papers. After releasing the book block from the press, I do a little inspection to feel the pages and see if they are sturdy and held together. The next step is to select the end papers. These craft books from a dollar store are perfect and cheap for such a thing. I have chosen this one. To cut them, I simply measure using a single sheet of paper and cut using a ruler and a knife. I'm also using a square so my cut is precise, but it's optional. To attach the end papers, first I fold them in half, then I apply glue to the edge. It's a stripe of 7 millimeters of glue. Then I press the end paper against it. I'm using a folded paper like you are seeing on the screen right now. This will help me to spread the glue without putting glue in the rest of the book block. Now for the hardcover. I'm cutting the book board to size, leaving a slight overhang around the edges of the book block. I'll use my measuring tool to leave exactly 3 millimeters of overhang on each exterior side. Since the boards are thick, I'll do several passes with the knife so I can have a clean cut. For the spine, I just measure the thickness of the book block with both covers, and then I'll cut the board with the same length of the covers. For the space between each cover and the spine, I'll use a 7mm spacer. Now it's time to use the book cloth. First, I'll lay out the cover boards to have an idea of how much material I'll cut. The overhang on the book cloth will be about 12mm. It's more than enough to fold them back when finishing the cover. Once I have the book cloth cut to size, now it's time to lay out again the boards to have an idea where they will be glued. Using the 7mm spacer, I make sure the covers have enough space from the spine when they are folded. I'm also doing some markings here with a pencil to help me when gluing down the boards. Add a generous amount of glue using a brush and spread it evenly. And then press it down, removing bubbles or bumps. Do the same thing with both cover boards and the spine. When the glue was already dried in this project, I was inspecting if the sizing was good, and I realized that my boards were too long in the edge. I should have trimmed this before doing the glue down. Now it's time to fix this. What I want to have is, from the book block, I want to have just 3 millimeters of clearance. So I'm gonna use my 3 millimeters spacer, and I'll trace down a line and then cut with my utility knife. With the book boards fixed, now it's time again to test the book block and see if the size is enough. Now it's time to trim the corners of the book cloth. I'm using a tool here that I 3D printed myself, but you don't need to use this tool. You can just do a diagonal cut into the corner, just like you see in the image, and you are good to go. Then it's time to apply the glue in each one of the edges. I like to start from the bottom, and I do both sides, the bottom and the top part, always pressing and pulling the book cloth to be well glued to the board. When the top and the bottom are glued, I'll do the sides. Same thing, apply the glue and then press it down, pulling to the center of the book. Now that the glue is dried, it's time to attach the book block into the cover. The first thing I'm going to do is to use a vinyl sheet that I have here as a separator. In this case, while applying the glue into the end paper, into the back of the end paper, the moisture that the glue will release will not affect the book block. I'll spread the glue evenly and also gluing down the cloth that we use to hold the spine. This way, this cloth will also be attached to the book board, securing even more the text block into the cover. Once the glue is applied, you carefully place the book block against the cover, taking care to leave a 3 mm of space in each exterior side. At the same time, make sure that when you fold the spine from the cover, it will touch the spine of the book block. But remember, you will not glue the spine against the book block. When the book block is in place, press it down with your hand or a bone folder to remove any bumps or bubbles. Let it dry for a couple of hours. In this case here I don't show you, but I used my separator to avoid the moisture to penetrate the book block. Do the same. For the other side, the process is similar. You use your separator You spread the glue evenly in the back of the end paper, and when you are ready to glue the cover into the book block, you just press the spine and let the cover fall. Then press it down. To let the glue dry, you can just use a book press, or in my case here, I'm using a brick just to put some weight on top of the book and let the glue dry. And this is the result. After inspecting the book, I realized that I didn't let the separator too long to avoid the moisture to penetrate the pages of the book block. But eventually it's going to disappear if I let it dry properly. If you enjoy what I'm doing here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the Page Odyssey channel for more bookbinding projects. Leave me a comment below saying what you'd like to see in the channel, and check out my other videos. See you in the next one.